Hello, Sci Fi Gangstas. This is our third attempt to try to record this show today.
Third time's a
but
charm.
I think we actually got it. Maybe we'll have audio on this one, so we'll see about that. But welcome to the first Sci Fi Gangsters show. I'm your host, Anthony Nanar. We got Jeremy Shepard and my friend Adam Malone, the video game expert. Some great topics that we're going to talk about today, including the new crossguard lightsaber that Kylo Ren has. The design for the lightsaber has been explained. The new Star Trek TV show. Blade Runner 2. Blade Runner. The first time I told that joke, you didn't like it. Second time you did. And then if we have time for some more topics, maybe we'll talk about that. But our first topic is Kylo Ren's new crossguard lightsaber. It's finally explained. The design for it has finally been explained. You know, when it first came out with the two blades coming out the side, everybody was like, whoa, like what? Why is it doing that? And everyone had their theories on why he had the lightsaber like that. Well, it was finally explained that those are actually exhaust vents. So there you go.
Overpowered. It needs to have some exhaust in the back.
So that's actually the reason. Yeah, it's because he found that old Sith design, and he didn't build it as finely tuned as some other sabers.
So he did a terrible job building a lightsaber, and he needed the exhaust vents, and he stuck with it.
Because it has just that much raw power.
Okay.
Yeah.
He found an old book in a Sith library. And
it's probably like a holocron.
Right, and just decided to... By the way, they actually called the crossguard thingies something. I think it was Quillians, I think they called it.
Yeah, something like that.
The Quillians. So there you go, finally.
It just looks like a big futuristic broadsword now. Just, you know.
Like the design? Don't like the design?
I think it's okay. Like, it makes sense to me that, you know, if he doesn't have a Sith master, like, you know, Vader's dead, Palpatine's dead, so he's probably not going to be the best at building a saber. So, I mean, that totally makes sense.
Hopefully he's a better fighter, because this villain's going to be pretty lame if he's as bad as he is at making lightsabers.
I think if you're going to have...
Even people who are great fighters like Darth Maul, he still just kind of went out, I mean...
Right.
I think if you're going to have the exhaust coming out the side anyway, the blade itself should be wider, just to make it look a little cooler.
Yeah, there you go.
My opinion.
Just make it an actual broad.
Yeah, I mean, make it.
Lightsaber.
Make it a broad.
I like it. I'm okay with the design. But today's discussion, of course, the new Star Wars movie is coming out on Christmas, and
it's quick. It's coming up quick.
And many people, we still don't know a lot about the movie, which is kind of crazy since we're right there and the movie's coming out. But the discussion question for today is, what's one thing that you don't want to see in a Star Wars movie? Okay, Jeremy, go first.
I don't want to see anyone die. Okay. So I don't want to see Han Solo die. I don't want to see Luke die. I'd be okay with Chewbacca dying. Okay. So Chewbacca died in the process of fulfilling his life debt to Han. So he's got a life debt because Han saved him from slavery. So he sold him from a slave ship. So that's why Chewbacca follows Han around, in case you don't know. He's got a life debt to him. So if he saved Han Leia's kid, like he does in the books that are no longer considered valid, I'd be okay with it. Like, I would actually really like to see that kind of thing get pulled into the new universe, because they have some really good stories in the old canon.
Now, a lot of people are thinking that someone might die to kind of make the villain seem, you know, a lot more imposing, especially if the villain were the person who was doing the killing. Do you see that happening?
I mean, I assume they would die. If anyone did die, it would be because of the actions of Kylo Ren and the remnants of the Empire. I mean, it might not be a direct action. You know, I mean, so it's set up to where so much time has passed that the propaganda machine has made Jedis out to be the bad guys.
Okay.
You know, so they are the the enemy in the universe, in the galaxy, that needs to be expunged. So I could see something setting up to where something drastically bad happened to try to shift that tide back to where the Jedi come back to restore order.
Okay. So what's one thing, Adam, that you don't want to see in the next Star Wars movie?
Well, coming from not a huge Star Wars fan per se, I'm more of a Trek fan. You can see him drinking out of these Star Trek
like
glass here.
I like it.
Which, you know...
I think we all are.
I think we all are. So, but I guess if Jar Jar Binks is an answer, that's the answer I'm going to give because...
So you want to see Jar Jar Binks?
No, I don't want to see
okay.
I don't want to see him. That was about the most annoying character in anything I've ever seen, ever made.
And I think J.J. Abrams has been asked about Jar Jar Binks multiple times.
Okay.
And I think J.J. Abrams has said he hated Jar Jar Binks.
Good.
And he won't be in the next movie.
Okay.
But who knows? He might be a Sith Lord.
Yeah, like we're talking about in the Reddit thread about breaking down what happened in Phantom Menace and how Jar Jar just got so incredibly lucky in lots of things. Like I hate Jar Jar, but I would be okay. Like if he came out to be this badass Gungan Sith Lord, I'd kind of be okay with it if they did it right and they didn't really have him in the thing a whole lot. Because, they didn't have the Emperor, really, until Jedi. Like, he really didn't have any presence outside of just communicating with Vader in the one scene. So, if they could somehow do it that way and it didn't come off terribly, I'd kind of be okay with it. But he had to stop the whole, the antics, the fake Jamaican type thing. So,
right.
He just came out and be like, hey, yeah, that was me. And now I'm going to kill everybody. I would kind of be okay.
Jar Jar Binks is Kylo Ren. But it was actually, when I was reading the article, I thought it was funny that it said that throughout the movie, you can see Jar Jar Binks moving his mouth when people are talking. And you thought, well, this is just him chewing on something or whatever. But according to the article, it's him using his Jedi mind tricks on people. It's kind of interesting.
And yeah, the Reddit thread really is great. It really is pretty good.
Well, one thing I don't want to see in the next Star Wars movie is I don't want to see Han Solo die. And I actually think it's going to happen. In fact, I'm about 90% sure it's going to happen. And this is my reasoning. I think Han Solo is going to die because J.J. Abrams loves playing tribute to other movies, just like he did in Star Trek Into Darkness, where he essentially made Into Darkness into a Wrath of the Khan remake. He did the whole dying scene that paralleled Wrath of the Khan. I think he's going to do the same thing where he's going to parallel the first Star Wars movie where you see the mentor die, forcing the hero to take action. Okay. And I can definitely see Han Solo being the mentor who dies, forcing the heroes to take action. So I really believe that Han Solo is going to die, and that's something I don't want to see because I feel like it's forced. But knowing J.J. Abrams' history, I think it's going to happen.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So, yeah, the trailer makes it look like Han is kind of, he is the one bringing
He's the new Obi-Wan Kenobi.
And so do you think that is going to be what brings Luke out? If Luke is in sequestered somewhere? I think Luke is going to be I don't think he's going to be making much of appearances in the first movie. Yeah, but do you think that action is going to be what causes him to step up? Like Han dies, and then he just takes it seriously. Possibly, and then they can do the whole thing where he's the new mentor now. Luke Skywalker's the new mentor kind of thing. I don't know for a fact that has anyone actually signed up for the other movies. I haven't heard if Han Solo is actually in fact doing the other movies or not. So there was a rumor, I don't know if it was true or not, that in the beginning Harrison Ford did say that he would only sign up for it if Han Solo did die. Okay. So I don't know if he actually said that. I didn't even know that. I didn't even know that. I'm telling you. Yeah. And of course, there's a theory out there that maybe Luke Skywalker is evil. Maybe he's like the head Sith. I don't think that. But I think that's not going to happen at all. Okay. I don't think there's any chance at all it's going to happen. Han Solo's going to die. I'm telling you, it's going to happen. So get ready. In the books, in the original universe after Jedi, there was a time when Luke kind of flirted in that way. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I don't think it's going to happen now. Well, there you go. Okay. Next topic.
Yes, let's get to the next topic. Star Wars is definitely something I like to steer clear from.
By the way, I need to watch the old Star Wars movies so I can get it. Anyways, okay. So next topic, Star Trek.
Let's talk about some Star Trek.
Okay. So the new TV show has officially been announced. It's going to happen in January 2017. The news came out recently. Well, first of all, it's up in the air if it's going to be in the J.J. Abrams universe, so meaning the new Vulcan being destroyed, new timeline. Still don't know if it's going to be, original series timeline or if it's going to be next generation or current or whatever in the future. But Michael Dorn, who played Worf in Next Gen and Deep Space Nine, he has confirmed that it will not be the Captain Worf TV series, which he pitched about a couple years ago, two or 3 years ago.
I heard about that.
It will not be the Captain Worf show.
Which is okay with me, actually.
Oh, man, we so disagree. So disagree.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
But the question is, what is one... pitch your favorite or your ideal Star Trek TV series. Go.
Well, as long as it's not... And you remember Star Trek Enterprise?
Okay.
Just the show? No.
Okay, as long as it's not that.
Anything but that, okay?
Actually...
Which century would you want to do? Like, is it just that, like, that time period you don't like?
I don't mind... No, I don't mind the time period. The time period's fine. It's just that whole outlook on, I don't know, the whole series.
I will say this.
The
Xindi War was actually pretty good.
The thing... It was too much mythology. Like there were no standalone episodes after like the first season.
Well, it got really bad in last season. Yeah. It became fan service and it got really bad. But go ahead and is that all? It's just anything?
No. I mean, literally anything but that. But if I had to choose, I really would like for them to pick up where Next Generation ended.
Okay.
Now I don't necessarily agree with Captain Worf.
Okay.
By any means.
What about Captain Riker?
I would be okay with Captain Riker. That would be okay.
Now he has actually pitched a series as well around his ship, the Titan.
That would be totally fine with me. I just thought that because the last episode of the Next Generation, you see Worf actually in the Klingon High Command and he's dealing with all that. I think that should stay where it is. Okay. And you should have Riker commanding the Enterprise and the Titan. After that. So that's the kind of universe that I want to see that picked up where it left
I think that makes more sense. I mean, just Worf's character, like once the people that he worked with were gone and moved on to other things, I think he would go back to the Klingon Empire and try to rebuild that.
It only makes sense. Yeah, it makes perfect sense.
Like it's his whole the character and his issues of where does his loyalty lie? I mean, stuff like that. It makes sense that he would go and try to bring that back up.
I would like an opinion of yours though. Just totally separate. What would you think of a pickup where Voyager?
So with the crew?
With the crew, yeah.
So they're home.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
Would you be okay with that?
That's not my ideal series.
That's not your ideal? But would you be okay with it?
I'll be okay with it.
Okay.
Okay. Well, let's go ahead and
go. All right, so my ideal series does kind of play off of that.
Okay.
So I would want to see people from Next Generation, DS9, Voyager, as teachers at Starfleet Academy.
Okay.
Like have all them back, see what they're doing when their tours are done, and see them teaching and bringing up a new class of people. So you've got sort of the old, people you're familiar with, the characters. So that's great for all the fans.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then you can introduce this new group of people to later on have their own show with their own ship.
Right. So do you strictly keep this at Starfleet headquarters, or do you move this out?
So I'd like to see, partially Starfleet headquarters, maybe partially simulator stuff.
Okay.
Like we saw in Wrath of Khan. And then, probably take them out on missions where they're cadets and, sort of, I don't know if I'd want the cast members, so the people from Voyager and DS9, I don't know if I'd want them just sort of falling back into their roles and fulfilling the ship, or, running the ship, but maybe like their advisors on the mission, stuff like that.
Okay.
I actually like your idea a lot. My ideal would be something very similar to that, but it would be essentially Captain Worf. So, so
you're all about Captain Worf.
See, hear me out. Okay, so it wouldn't have to be primarily focused on his character. Okay. So what we would do is we would do some sort of alpha squad, young, hip recruits, like the best of the best, who are on a ship together, and it's sort of like a Starfleet Academy meets, whatever. So it's the best of the best, young crew. You can do the whole young, attractive cast members that get a new audience in. You can, but then you would have the tie-in with the rest of the fans. you would have Worf,
Okay.
who has crossed over in more series than I think anybody else has. That may not be true, but I'm going to say it is. Okay, so Worf was
Yeah,
in
Riker in 3, right?
yeah, he was in Voyager too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. He was also in Enterprise. He was in the last episode of Enterprise. You know what? It can be Captain Riker. I don't care. Although Riker or Jonathan Frakes, he's getting a little rough. He's looking a little rough lately. So
If they're going to do it, they need to do it.
It needs to be Admiral Riker.
Yeah.
Like,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
we can do Admiral Riker. We can do
Yeah.
Admiral. So essentially, you have some tie-ins, just like you said, where you have old cast members who are just coming in, making some special appearances, so you can say, hey, look, it's Jerry Ryan. That's pretty cool. Although Jerry Ryan, Captain Jerry Ryan, Captain 7 of 9, that would actually be pretty cool too. Might as well. She's not doing anything. She was on Arrow the other day. I don't know. If,
Well, it'd kind of be similar to, like, remember the first couple of episodes of Next Generation where you saw McCoy come in, and then later on you see Scotty and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I would like for them to implement that kind of those kind of situations right there at the beginning, and then again, like going back to your idea, where you lead into.
That's why I don't
Yes.
want to see a J.J. Abrams universe, because
I don't think anyone wants to see that.
Yeah.
That's a TV show.
No.
Because for a number of reasons. Because if you go in the future, then you have to do this whole future timeline.
Mhm.
And if you go in if you stick with the past, then I don't know. It doesn't interest me. You can't bring the old people, the people that you're fans of, back in. Like if you did the movie timeline, you couldn't bring in. Well, you couldn't really bring Prince Spiner in anyways, but you couldn't bring him in for a guest appearance because it just wouldn't make any sense.
Right.
Right. So I don't know. It's just.
So would you want to see B4 in anything? Like it felt like they were setting that up at the end of the movie. Like
I think they just gave up because they knew it was over.
Yeah.
But there's actually some books where Data he re-downloads his mind into B4 and he kind of takes him over. Although there's other books where B4 actually starts to try to become his own person or robot or whatever.
Like some of the books, some of the books were really good. Like they could build off of. I always wanted to see Shatner's books actually get made into a movie because I didn't like the way Kirk died.
No one did.
Because his whole thing in Star Trek V, he lays it out. I wasn't scared because I knew I would always die alone, and he didn't die alone, and that feels awful to me.
Mm-hmm.
To where he's basically resurrected by the Borg,
right?
And that's how he sort of continues to live in the 24th century. But they were really good, like some of the stories, because it then gets to the
So would you
universe.
have William Shatner today playing Captain Kirk, or would you recast him?
I think Shatner. No, I would never recast Kirk.
Well, it's happened,
Yeah.
So
It has happened. But
I wouldn't recast Kirk in that universe.
okay.
I think Chris Pine is fine in the other universe, but
okay.
you can't. Yeah, you just can't recast Shatner in the original setting. But he's put on some weight. He's still in good health, from my understanding.
Yeah.
He's definitely shown to have the ability to drop weight when he needs to trim down a little bit.
It's true.
Plus, they're CGI, so if he need to take off a little bit of extra
Oh
footage,
no.
Anything's possible in
Anything's
this day and age.
possible.
I need a little CGI myself right now.
I'd rather see Shatner CGI'd than somebody else come and try to play an adult Captain Kirk.
Okay. Next topic.
All right, let's be final topip because
You got to get out of here.
Time's getting close.
Get out of here. Okay.
Yeah.
So Blade Runner 2. It's been in the works for a while, and it's recently confirmed that Ryan Gosling will be playing, or he'll be in the movie with Harrison Ford. I didn't know if you knew Harrison Ford was going to be in the Blade Runner 2. But anyway, so Ryan Gosling going to be in the movie. Any opinions about that real quick?
I think he's fine. I think he's an okay actor.
Okay.
I think he'll be fine.
I liked him in Drive. I like that movie. It's kind of an underrated movie.
It's a good movie.
It really is.
He just, it's not like he has to act a whole lot.
It's not. He doesn't.
But it's a good movie.
I have no
Notebook.
opinion.
The Notebook. You liked him in the Notebook. So I think both me and you both agree that we don't want to see a Blade Runner sequel. Is that right?
Yes, I don't think I don't think there's any point in going. It's purely monetary. Like there's artistically, creatively, there's no reason to go back there.
I agree. But today's discussion question is, what is one movie that you want to see remade or a sequel for? Go ahead, Adam.
Well, I don't know about movies. I'm not a big movie buff anyway, but I'm going to steer clear of this one and go straight to video games because there are so many video game remakes. I would love to see Final Fantasy VII, the old classic Earthbound from Super Nintendo, Final Fantasy 3 or 6 for the hardcore fans. But it's just, they're never going to happen. People keep screaming for it, but it's
so why hasn't
never
Final Fantasy been remade?
So have they not made like some CGI Final Fantasy movies?
Movies, yes. They've done, well, but it has nothing to do with the actual game
It's just
itself.
in that universe?
It's just in that universe. It's whole different characters, whole different, enemies, but in that universe.
Here's my question. If it's the Final Fantasy, how come they keep making more of them? This is
know,
the Final Fantasy 10.
Yeah, well, and it started like that because
They actually jumped around.
the
right?
very first Final Fantasy, I can't remember the company that actually started this. I guess Squaresoft or whoever it was at the beginning. That was going to be their last game. That was it. They were going out of business. They were going bankrupt as far as I know.
Right.
And they put it out there, and it did phenomenal. And they just kept it going. So they went Final Fantasy 2, 3, so on and so forth.
When's the last time they made a Final Fantasy movie? Or, I'm sorry, a game?
The last Final Fantasy game that I'm aware of is either 14, which is the online Final Fantasy for that, and then I want to say 13-2. I think they did a 13-2. So I believe those are the last two. It's been a while since I've played any of them, but the classic 7, 6, I would love to play again as a remake. Keep everything the same.
The exact same game.
Everything the same. Just update graphics, update all your frame rates and all your graphical everything.
Okay.
Just make everything great. Have some CGI,
Mhm.
footage in there. I think that would be a really, really good idea, and I think it would sell
I
a
like it.
lot. I think people would buy it.
Good.
So,
All right, here we go. So what's one movie you want to see remade or a sequel to?
All right, so there's 3 movies I'd want to have remade.
Okay.
Like in descending order of like the first one that's so terrible is Battlefield Earth.
Okay.
Okay. It's a great book. It's an incredibly long book.
Mhm.
Like it's 1,050 pages. It will never be made because that John Travolta movie was so terrible, and it was barely half the story, if that. So I don't think you could make Battlefield Earth in one movie. It has to be a
Did
trilogy.
they at least follow the book, or was it kind of?
No.
Okay.
Not at all. They had the characters were named the same thing, and they used the word leverage a lot, and that's it. That's it. It was terrible. It's an abomination. It's not even close to the actual story.
Okay.
So barring whatever people think about L. Ron Hubbard and the Church of Scientology,
Okay.
the book's good. Starship Troopers is the next. Okay.
Right.
The book is good. The movie is terrible. Right. The director supposedly was trying to make this satirical piece about fascism and things.
Yeah, you can definitely you can hear it.
Yeah, but it doesn't follow the book, and it's just sort of cheap,
Mhm.
right? I mean, so some of the other Starship Trooper movies later didn't take themselves seriously. They came off really, jokingly, and you could kind of enjoy them in that way.
Mhm.
So, but it'll never be remade because of the number of other movies they've made in
Right.
that universe.
Right.
And then Dune, I would like to see remade and taken seriously
Good old dude.
as the book.
By the way, the end credits in Dune is the greatest thing in the world.
The weird, you could get Patrick Stewart to come back again and look the exact same.
That's true. That's very true. So you want to see all those books those movies get?
I don't think any of them would ever be remade. Dune, maybe
Okay.
that could be remade
I can see that.
and taken more seriously, but the other two would never be remade.
So my answer is, I thought about this a lot because the first thing that came to mind was It. I wanted to see It be remade because I read the book and the book is way different. The book focuses, the reason why the book is so scary when you read it is because you care about the characters and the movie you don't. All right, so I would like to see it remade. The only thing that kind of, when I second guessed it is because when you read It, I don't know if you ever read It, the book by Stephen King.
Right.
It gets really weird at the end. Something really weird happens, and you know what I'm talking about if you've read the book. Something really weird. It's the very end of the climax, and the kids do something together that makes you think, what the hell was Stephen King thinking? It just is really awkward, okay? And that's how they defeat the monster. And I just don't want to see that in a movie. So that's the reason why I wouldn't say it. I do want to see Old Man's War made into a movie because I think it's a great book. It'd be like it would be a mix between Avatar and Starship Troopers. Avatar in the sense that quick plot of the book. When you grow older, you can either just grow old and die, or you can enlist in the army or the military, and they remake a body for you, and your mind gets downloaded in the body, and you get to live again. But you're in a very deadly war where you can easily die. Right. So it's kind of a cool concept. I won't give away the plot of the book, but I'd really like to see that made into a movie. And also, real quick, I think I would like to see Lost in Space get remade.
Oh god, that movie was
because it's a really bad movie.
terrible.
But I think
It
there's
was a pretty bad TV show.
It was a bad
Well,
TV show.
yeah. The movie was worse, I think.
It was, but I like the concept. It's a very interesting concept because you
Yeah.
could do a lot of different things with it.
Yeah.
A family lost in space, right? I mean, there's a lot you can do
You
with
could just
it.
advertise that as Lost in Space without Matt LeBlanc.
Right, exactly.
Like,
Yeah.
just-
Exactly.
That would be all the advertising you need. Just
Right.
no Matt LeBlanc.
So those are the movies that I think that I would
Keep
like.
Joey out of space, right?
Joe.
I would rather see it with him playing the character Joey.
Perfect. I like it. Let's write it ourselves. We'll write that ourselves.
Yeah.
So I know you have to go. You have more important things to do right now, like
I do.
hanging out with family.
I do.
Quick, just 1 or 2 word review of Fallout 4 like you were supposed to. Go.
All right, I love what you brought up on our template here about how B, and I couldn't get over this,
Okay.
and my wife agreed, is Pornhub.
Yeah.
Actually
Oh, I
saw
forgot about the
a drop in subscriptions as soon as Fallout 4 hit, and I think that was
So real
awesome.
quick, so Pornhub, I guess, announced that their traffic dropped significantly
Yes.
when Fallout 4 came out, like the first 24 hours, which is kind of funny because it makes you think either a whole bunch of people are playing Fallout 4 or the same people who go to Pornhub are the same people who play Fallout 4.
Yeah.
And I think it's the latter.
Yeah. I mean, that just seems expected.
It does, and I think it would be expected with, well, maybe not anymore, but maybe 5 years ago when a World of Warcraft expansion came out.
Right.
That kind of thing.
Yeah.
So quick review.
But quick review, the game looks visually phenomenal. I love all the extra stuff they've added into it, like building your own settlements, and you don't just walk around and everything. You actually do 10 times more. You can actually beat the game in about 20 hours if you just go straight through it, which who does that, right? I mean, come on, let's be honest.
Oh, me.
And the VAT system, remember we were talking about the VAT system earlier, it seems to have a great improvement. But I liked your idea earlier about as the difficulty of the game goes up, the VATs should speed up as well.
Yeah.
And it doesn't. But if that's something that they could definitely put in there, I think that would be a great challenge. But, I mean, I'd definitely give it a 4.5 out of 5.
4.5 out of 5.
Yeah,
There you go.
it's great.
Yeah.
Great game.
So the only thing I don't like about it is I did finish the main storyline, and
Okay.
I went the way I did. But the cutscene they give you after finishing that story
Mm-hmm.
is not really fulfilling. It's really short. It's kind of generic. Previously in Fallout 3 or New Vegas, it told you more about what happened. Like, so the repercussions of your actions, it told you sort of what happened with those characters. And this time there really wasn't any of that. Like, it finished the main story, but I didn't find out, what happened. I made this choice. I saved this guy.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't tell you any of that. So that's the thing I didn't like. It felt kind of like they were so focused on the other things in the world that they held back a little bit in the final story.
Okay.
And that was really the only thing I didn't like about it, or that I thought was not an improvement over previous Fallouts.
Okay, that's fair.
Well, there you go. So that's our first Sci-Fi Gangsters show. If you're watching right now, comment. Tell us what you think. Pitch your Star Trek TV show. Talk about Kylo Ren's lightsaber, all that kind of stuff. Feel free to comment on there. Feel free to dislike too, man. I'm all about the dislikes.
Yeah.
'Cause at least you spend the time to go. No,
Yeah, no, screw these guys.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
That was Sci-Fi Gangsters TV show. I'm Anthony Nor, Jeremy Shepard, and Malone. Bye.